Yes, intimacy between Earthlings and future Martians would be fatal. This is according to evolutionary biologists. By intimacy, we mean sexual relations. Well, this is part of life on Earth as well as in interstellar colonies. This is by RT today. Now, while many futurists and tech entrepreneurs and science fiction fans are abuzz about the idea of manning human colonies on Mars, and as they say, will be done within the next few decades, one evolutionary biologist has shared a rather cold dose of reality. This is what he explains. NASA, Elon Musk, and many others, including current and former US presidents, publicly discussed plans to colonize Mars within the next few decades, focusing on the logistics of getting manned spacecraft to the red planet. But an evolutionary biologist at Rice University, Scott Solomon, was focused on one specific question, and that was this: what if we're all actually successful? I don't think there has been nearly as much discussion about what would become of the people that are living in these colonies generations later. Solomon has some rather bold and somewhat alarming predictions about what might become of future generations of Mars colonists, or should we say Martians. He says, quote, if a mutation pops up for people living on Mars and it gives them a 50% survival advantage, that's a huge advantage, right? And that means that those individuals are going to be passing those genes on at much higher rates than they otherwise would have. Now, the scientist predicts that due to the extremely controlled environment that the Martians will be forced to live in, they will become nearsighted from staying in enclosed environments almost all the time. And on top of this, they will have denser bones to overcome gravity, but they may eventually become more brittle, with drastic consequences for reproductive health. Old-fashioned natural childbirth might prove extremely precarious, with the increased risk due to the mother of shattered pelvis. And the video just before this one, today, a couple of videos before, we talked about the experiment that were undergone, the experiments undergone in the International Space Station, and they found that even 30 days of zero gravity is enough to deteriorate the cartilage in a person's bones. They did this, of course, by experiments on mice, but still, it has an effect on people. They noticed that the blood, the skin, the muscles, the eye, even the eye shape changes, and of course, the bones and the cartilage. They deteriorate because there is lack of gravity, and you need to walk, and the weight of the bones on the actions of walking is good for the cartilage, and the cartilage is something that cannot be fixed. It can't repair itself, basically. Now, so you have various health problems that you have to consider. So even giving birth can shatter the pelvis. Can you imagine? In addition, Solomon believes that Martians would develop a new skin tone while adjusting to the elevated radiation levels on Mars compared with Earth. So you would be more irradiated in Mars because, of course, Mars doesn't have an atmosphere. It has a lot of solar and cosmic rays bombarding it continuously. There's no protection. It doesn't have an electromagnetic magnetic field. Now, humans use melanin while other earthbound animal species use carotenoids to fend off the harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation, but Martian colonists would likely develop a new skin tone while acclimating to the harshness of Mars over the course of generations. He also predicts that descendants of the first Martian colonists will have denser capillary beds like Earthling Tibetans do, who are used to processing air with 40% less oxygen than at sea level. The lifestyle of a Mars colonist would also have an extreme effect on their immune system, given that the vast majority of their time would be spent in a sterile environment with few, if any, microorganisms present. This would essentially render meetings between Martian colonists and people from Earth extremely dangerous, as the latter would be carrying diseases, illnesses, and bacteria, to which the Martian colonists would simply have no defense. In short, Martian Earthling sex would be a no-no, with fatal consequences for any Martian that dares. Now, all of these changes would happen sooner than we on Earth might expect, within a generation or two, and to overcome such issues, Solomon advocates the use of the latter gene editing techniques, such as CRISPR, to alter colonist DNA and modify gene function to better adapt to the new intense environment. Why wait around for this mutation to occur if you can just go in and make them yourself, he said. If I were designing a human colony on Mars, I would want a population that would be hundreds of thousands of people with representatives of every human population here on Earth, end quote. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.